What you saying, everyone? Big weekend of football, but it's also a big weekend of fight sports, if that tickles your fancy. So, we're going to have a quick... I'm not staying on for ages, but we'll have a quick rundown of the big fights this weekend. Obviously, Canelo, Crawford is in the early hours tonight. Two pound-for-pound greats in the world at the moment going against each other. Another super fight that seemed to have come out of nowhere since Turkey's took over boxing. It's live on Netflix, no pay-per-view. So it's a huge event, man. It's a huge event, and it's about time we've seen Canelo get a real test, I feel. Overall, I've changed my mind on this. I think when the fight first got announced, obviously Canelo was still hovering around that light heavyweight, super middleweight fight limit in his last few fights. I know the fight against Skull was back at super middleweight, but he has been lingering around that light heavyweight scene for a while now as well, since he took some of the belts there. So Canelo's been punching above his weight for a good few years now. Used to fighting bigger guys. And obviously Crawford has spent the majority of his career in and around the welterweight limit. So obviously when it first got announced, I thought, this is crazy. Like, there's weight classes for a reason. Obviously Canelo's used to fighting these big monsters. He'd obviously packed the size on as well to make those weight jumps through the divisions. So at first when it got announced, I thought it was a mismatch. Obviously, boxing needs these fights at the moment with two big names to attract new fans. And do you know what I mean? The way boxing has been the last decade it's always been too political. Agents get too involved, promoters get too involved, and we don't necessarily see the best fight the best. I think that's the biggest criticism of boxing. So I think now that Turkey's come in, it's been a case of the guy's just been trying to make football manager super fights, boxing manager, whatever you call it, like he's playing a video game. So I think this was one of those dream scenarios that he had in his head. But since it's been announced, and I've seen the build-up, and I've seen the way that Crawford's packed the weight on to make the super middleweight limit, I've started to change my mind a little bit. I've gone back and forth with it a lot this week. At one point, I was even thinking Crawford might have enough to beat him when I seen them square up. They're both very similar in size, and Crawford's actually got a reach advantage on Canelo as well, which is crazy considering he's supposed to be the smaller man. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I think it's definitely become a 50-50 fight. And if you would have told me that a month or two ago, I would have probably laughed in your face. But my final prediction, I think I'm probably going to stick with Canelo just about. I think Crawford's going to have the speed advantage, obviously coming up from the lower weight divisions. He's great off the back foot. He's a great counter puncher. I think his main strength, Crawford's main strength, is the fact that he can fight out of both stances as well. Very rarely do you find a fighter that can not only switch stance, but can look as dominating regardless of what stance they're in. Crawford looks just as good in southpaw as he does in orthodox. So I think that's going to be hard for Canelo to deal with. You can only have a certain amount of sparring partners. He's probably got southpaw sparring partners, probably got orthodox sparring partners, but to be able to fight someone who can switch mid-round as easily as Crawford does, it's going to be tough for him. It is going to be tough for him. And I think that Crawford might actually cause him problems in the first few rounds with his speed, with his ability to box off the back foot. Don't get me wrong, both of these guys are world-class counter-punchers. We've seen Canelo build a career early on in the lower weight classes as well, based off counter-punching. We saw what he did to Triple G in those fights. Beautiful work off the ropes and off the back foot. But in this fight, as he's the bigger guy, it's probably going to be him moving forward, I believe. I'd I very much doubt that Crawford's going to come out and meet him in the centre of the ring and look to throw in the pocket. It's going to be a chess match. That's why I don't think this fight will be as exciting as people will expect it to be. I think both guys are that high level and that good defensively, and like I say, that good off the back foot, that we're going to probably see quite a tentative start for the first maybe 6 to 8 rounds. Both guys love to download the data of their opponents and try and adapt to that. But I think we're going to see the fight go similarly to what we've seen when we've seen Canelo against quick guys in the past. He has struggled to adapt in the first few rounds, and people have managed to get decent rounds in the bank against Canelo previously. The likes of Billy Joe Saunders, even the likes of Amir Khan was fighting quite well against Canelo before obviously he got caught. So I can see Crawford starting really well. But that's all part of Canelo's plan a lot of the time. He likes to get a look at you. Like I say, he likes to download the data of his opponent. And then from like round 4 or 5 onwards, he usually just puts it straight on your toes. And I think when a guy's been used to fighting light heavyweights, he's been in there with Bivol. I know Bivol beat him, but again, look where that guy is now. Absolutely at the very top of the game at light heavyweight. And let's not forget, Canelo's fighting these guys at 5'7". Do you know what I mean? Undersized for the division. He's used to taking a big shots off bigger guys. So I don't think Crawford can test his chin. Canelo's never even hit the canvas, by the way. Never been dropped in his career. And that's when fighting probably 3-4 weight classes above what he should be fighting at. So I don't think Crawford's power is going to bother Canelo at all. So he's not going to fear just walking into Crawford's punches, putting pressure on him, backing him up onto the ropes. And I do think he'll have too much for him in the end. I don't think it'll be a knockout. I think both of them are too defensively sound to get put over. But I just think Canelo will take over the fight from the maybe the 5th round onwards and just overwhelm Crawford with pressure, with output, punches in bunches up against the ropes. There's weight classes for a reason, isn't there? And you can't ignore it. I do question Crawford's inactiveness as well. Over the last 5-6 years, he has fought some big names in multiple weight classes himself, but it's always like 1 fight per year. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Canelo's always been active, man. 2 fights a year, even as the champion, even with all the millions he's got in the bank now. 2 fights per year, like every year. Guy's got 68 bouts behind him. And he's actually younger than Crawford as well. So the guy's been super active in his entire career, and that can only go in his favour, if you ask me. I think Crawford I would have liked a little bit more activity from Crawford before taking a big fight like this. But I think it will be very interesting to watch. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to be a firecracker. I don't think it's going to be 2 guys trying to take each other's chins off. It'll be a chess match, but I just think Canelo will edge it in the end. And we've seen Canelo be on the right side of close decisions before. Do you know what I mean? Like, you think of some of the Triple G decisions, even the Bivol decision, which didn't go his way. He lost by 1 round, and Bivol dominated that fight. So I think the judges are always looking to if there's close rounds, edge it to Canelo, as he is the face of the sport. Probably brings the most eyeballs in. So if there is any 50-50 rounds, just expect the judges to go for Canelo in those instances. So I think that will just end up edging it for him. So if you do see a close fight, which I think we will, then Canelo will just get the nod of approval from the judges a little bit more than Crawford would, I think. So yeah, I'm going to edge it Canelo on points. I'm looking forward to it. I hope Crawford can make a good statement of himself, which I think he will. I think even with the loss, I think he'll put up a good fight. He is fighting one of the all-time greats, let's be real. A guy that's fought all the way from welterweight up to light heavyweight is crazy work for someone that's 5'7". So all the respect in the world to Canelo. I think he's been missing a big name like this for a few years now, so I do think he'll be well up for it. So yeah, Canelo 1 point is my final prediction. And then there is a UFC card tonight as well. Main card starts at 11 p.m, I think, so it's relatively early if people wanted to try and catch it. I'll probably just talk about the main event. We've got Diego Lopez coming off the back of a title. It was a title loss against Alexander Volkanovski. I think it was obviously the vacant belt after Ilia Topuria moved up. But Diego Lopez was on a tear before that, and I don't know. The fighting nerds have fell off, haven't they? They have. 2 losses last week in Paris. Obviously, we saw Carlos Prates get fraud checked when he got shot up the rankings too early against Ian Gary. I do think this might be a little bit too early. For Silva. I think when you have big names like this and big personalities, the UFC try and push you right to the top. Obviously, to find new challenges for the champion. But I think it might be too much too soon. I mean, he's only just beat Bryce Mitchell. Do you know what I mean? Who's now fighting at the division below. And Bryce Mitchell wasn't doing that badly on the feet in the first round of that fight either. Obviously, he got finished in the end, but Bryce Mitchell's not a top 10 featherweight, not even close. Diego Lopez is absolutely incredible everywhere. He's better on the ground than John Silver is. He's got unbelievable boxing. He rips to the body. So I'm backing the underdog. Diego Lopez is quite a hefty underdog in this fight as well. So I think he's great value for money if people wanted to have a punt on that. I think he's 15-8 when I checked. Mexican as well. I just think he'll have too much for him. He's the taller man. He's the stronger man. John Silver's not going to be able to bother him on the ground. Diego Lopez might even mix in the takedowns. He's got great jiu-jitsu. And yeah, I just think he'll have too much for John Silver. I'm really surprised at the bookies' odds, to be honest with you. Especially after what happened to the fighting nerds last week, like I said. So yeah, I'm backing the Mexican, Diego Lopez. So it's a double Mexico win tonight. So if anyone fancies a bit of action on that, Canelo points. Does Diego Lopez stop John Silva? I don't think so. So maybe points again, but I wouldn't I won't go all in on that points decision for Diego Lopez because he's already a good enough price just to win. So yeah, I'm going Canelo in the boxing, Diego Lopez in the UFC as an underdog, by the way. So yeah, that's pretty much how I see the two main events going tonight. I'm excited to watch it. Obviously got plenty of football up until 10 o'clock before that as well. So mega day of sports, mega night of sports. So yeah, enjoy it. Don't come back and flame me if I'm wrong this time. I had people in the comments, man, last week after a couple of prelims picks that went wrong. But that's a full card, man. Can't expect me to get 15 out of 15. But yeah, there's the two main events picks for you. A bit of a breakdown. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you've got Canelo or Crawford. Let me know who you've got out of Lopez and Silva. Can have a little chat about why you think I'm wrong. And then we'll touch base again tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be laughing at you all because I was right. So yeah, peace out, people. Enjoy your day, enjoy the footy, and enjoy the fights if you're going to stay up and watch them. See you in a bit.